Hey there, I just got this new tiny video marvel because I want to create some more spontaneous videos next to what you usually see here on this channel. Let's give it a try, shall we?
Welcome to Vape World. I'm your host Bert and today we'll be talking about the PMI Smoke Ninja.
Just kidding, I quit vaping quite a while ago. This is the PMI Smoke Ninja. It's a battery-powered portable smoke machine. I backed it on Kickstarter quite a while ago. There were some delays, but in the end I got it, so all good. Just to be clear, this is not a review, but in short, it's a portable battery-powered smoke machine. They come in different packages. Mine came with the smoke machine itself, an extra chamber, a remote, a bottle of liquid, and some accessories. And the accessories are quite interesting because you can make three types of smoke with this machine. There's the normal smoke, there is steam, and there is dry ice, which mimics the effect of dry ice, and it actually works quite well. It's a bit gimmicky maybe, but it works. Now, smoke machines, usually they are used for dramatic effect and often over dramatic effect. And I must admit that I've been guilty about that in the past as well. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's an effect that can easily be overdone, like with many effects. But for this machine, I have something else in mind. I have something more subtle in mind. I want to create haze rather than smoke. And there are haze machines. I even have a hazer, but they are not very practical because you always need a power outlet to make it work. They're big, they're bulky, they take a long time to warm up, things like that. But haze is see it as a more subtle cousin of smoke. And haze is something that it's there, but it's not there. It creates a certain density in the shot. It softens contrasts a bit, and definitely with digital sharp lenses and sensors, haze can take the edge off a little bit. And of course, haze gives that more cinematic feel, makes your light more cinematic in a picture. So that's what I hope to do with the Smoke Ninja. First test of the Smoke Ninja, I came to the backyard because we have this little small space outdoor area here. It's nothing special as a location, but it's a small room with no distractions, so it's going to be like a good place to start. Mind you, this is not about the results, this is about playing and trying to figure out how the smoke and the Smoke Ninja behaves. Luckily, I got the help of my girlfriend to take some portraits and see where we end up. But before we put a lot of smoke in this small room, let's do some test shots for reference, so later on I can compare the ones with and without the smoke. So I am shooting on the X-T5 with the 56, just natural light, blocking the light from above. So we have that afdaksjes technique, and we'll see what we can do. I'm just going to take a couple of test shots, but these are for reference later on. So that is reference shot number one. Let's move on to the second shot. For the second shot, same natural light that is going to come from those little old windows over there. I've put Kim on a little stool, although she isn't too tall. The windows are really too low to get good light if she's standing up. So let's see what we get from that. And with the reference shots done, it's time to make some smoke. As you can see, the smoke is pretty thick, so I'm going to try to dissipate it a bit because I don't really want that smoke effect. I want more of a haze effect, so we need to break up the smoke a little bit. So let's see if we can fill this room with haze. So I'm not sure if you can see this, but the smoke is still there, and it has turned into a bit more of a haze. So let's see if we can do the ones with the window light and see if there's any difference. It definitely does work. It gives me a difference, a nice dense atmosphere in the pictures. That's what I was basically looking for. It might be even be too much, so let's see if it, because it is outside and the wind is moving all the smoke around, so I think it will be gone, or at least less in just a couple of minutes. I might also quickly grab my GFX with a Mitakon 65mm and take some pictures with that while we wait anyway. I think that already worked. It's the kind of effect that I was looking for. We might explore it a bit more, but the one thing that I really want to test out in this session is how it does with hard light, because now it's outside, it's really cloudy, so there's no direction to the light, or at least very little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a flash outside of those windows and let it come shine through the windows and see if we can get a bit of volume and direction. So what's always important is to make sure that the flash sees the subject if you're shooting through windows. So if I look from the position of the flash towards the windows and I see Kim, then I know that the flash can see Kim, which is of course essential. So let's first set up the light, see if we can kill the ambient light completely before we add more smoke. So I have my flash set outside and I set my camera to basically remove pretty much all the ambient light. So if I take a picture without flash, there's a bit of light left because it kind of fills in everything a little bit, but most of it comes from the flash. That seems to be working. What I'm gonna do while we have the mist hanging around is to take my 18mm lens and see what happens if I do really wide, to get a better idea of how it reacts in the rest of the space. I'm gonna do a couple more with the GFX, but first I'm gonna add some more smoke. It started raining, so I had to bring my flash back inside, but let's do some tests with just this available light that's coming through. That's it for now. I have a lot of pictures to look through and see if I can learn something for a future experiment. It's always building up these things. You have to try out things, see what works, see what doesn't work, refine it in the next try. So let's see what we have, and I'll see you at my computer. Now let's take a look at the pictures. We can be pretty short about the pictures in the door frame. It's not that they are bad or anything, but there's not much to see difference-wise when the ones with or without the smoke, because I was shooting wide open on the 56, so the background is out of focus anyway, and it's pretty dark. So if you see, like, this is without the smoke and this one is with the smoke, you don't really see a lot of difference in there. Also, for some kind of reasons, when Kim was inside the door, the sides of her face get really dark, and which is great if you have, for example, my face, which is a bit on the broader side, to call it mildly. But if you have someone with a very narrow face, it slims the face even down even more, so it didn't really work that way, but that's why we do experiments, of course. But it gets more interesting once we go to the ones with the window light. If we take a look at these, so this is without the haze or without the smoke, and it's already a pretty good shot. There's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like once you start adding the haze, things become even more interesting. Like, this is with the haze, and if you can see that there's more of a density to the picture, it looks a bit more natural. It's softer also, it softens the contrast, it softens the skin. So if you look, like, for example, in the sweater, there's just a little bit of detail there. Also on the face, it's a lot nicer just by softening just that little bit, and I think that works pretty well. Now, if we look at the pictures with the flash, which, by the way, was a Godox AD200 with the Fresnel head, so just your average speed light, basically. I placed it outside and shot it through the windows, because the windows are a bit dirty and cracked and everything. The light gets a bit softer, but in those situations, what you often get if you use just one light as the only light, one hard light as the only light, it works, but you still get this idea of it that it's not, like, completely natural. And with these pictures, with the haze in the room, you kind of fill in the shadows just a little bit. There's a little bit of light reflecting on all those particles of smoke lingering in the air, and some of these particles will reflect light back onto the subject on the shadow side. Some of the particles will reflect on towards the camera, so you get a bit, you basically compress that dynamic range just a little bit with the haze. And I find that is often the difference between a picture that looks natural or not natural. So if we look at these images, then you can see that even in the shadows, in the blacks, there's still that little bit of detail, and that's because of those particles. Because if you do that without any haze or smoke in the room, then you're gonna need to add some fill light to make it work, to make it balanced. But in this case, it softens the whole picture a little bit, softens the contrast, and it also softens the skin a little bit more. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I use haze, or want to use haze. Look at the same picture. This is with the 18mm, the previous one. This one is with the 33, but with the 18mm, you can basically see that I can light a full room with just one speed light and the haze. And it's often a good idea to light a room or a space or a scene rather than a person, because that gives you more options. So you get these interesting patterns in the backlight, but at the same time it forms a nice hard-ish light, but because of the cracked windows and the haze, it becomes soft enough to create something really pleasing, in my opinion. And then because of the rain, I had to take the flash inside, because wet and high voltage flashes are not a good combination. So I put it off and we shot with the ambient light just coming through the windows. And here you can also see that you get more of that fill light, because basically a lot of light's going to reflect on all these particles. So I think that worked really well. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this a bit more rough format, but this allows me to share more often, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video.